Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office. It is Monday morning. It's now the 13th day of October 2025, and this is the morning briefing on what is going to be a pretty busy day, pretty busy couple of days. Both today and tomorrow, we will see rain, a breeze, and some Sierra snow. And tomorrow we have the possibility of some rain, snow, and thunderstorms. So yeah, it is going to be an interesting couple of days. But as you look at your work week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will all be dry, and even the start of the weekend will be dry. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. Let me show you what it looks like outside the home weather office this morning. It is cloudy. It's still dark. I'm recording this earlier than I usually do. It's only a little after 7 o'clock as I'm recording this, but it is cloudy, and every now and then the trees are moving around a little bit. Not too breezy out there right now, but you can certainly kind of get the idea that a change is in the works, and it is going to be a cloudy day with rain eventually developing. Let me show you what it looks like on the radar this morning. A lot to get through this morning in terms of the radar. So this is the Davis radar, and this is showing some showers in eastern Butte County and into Plumas County up toward the Quincy area, some rain showers. This, of course, is the windmills, and it's also trying to pick up maybe some sprinkles. Think this is a lot of virga. There's ground clutter here, and then see this little line coming across. Could be some virga in there as the ground clutter starts to get cleared out here. So there might be some sprinkles there. But what's interesting here with the radar, because this is a single site radar, so that's coming off of Davis. Let's go to the north and up on the north coast and show you what it looks like up here, because, yeah, now this is showing a lot more rain to the north. So this is what we are going to be seeing later on today. Let me just zoom out a little bit. So as you can see, we're getting some really good rain up in here, and all of this will gradually sink down to the south. Let me switch radars again. So I just showed you the Davis radar. Now let's show the Monterey radar. And as you can see from here, this is showing showers over Sacramento and Roseville. But if you go to the Davis radar, it's only showing a couple of sprinkles. So what's happening here is that this radar down at Monterey is shooting higher up into the clouds because of the way the radar beam goes. The Earth curves away, so eventually the radar beam is, maybe 10,000 feet up here by the time it gets up to the area around Davis or Placer County. And then the Davis radar doesn't see as much of that because it's firing at a lower angle. Either way, not much rain for the valley this morning. We will be seeing better rain this afternoon. Do expect rain for the afternoon commute. That's enough of the radar. Let's go to the... I didn't mean to do that. Come back. Thank you. I meant to do this. Thank you. So here's the satellite. Here is our cold low dropping down from the north, as you can see here. Here's a band of clouds with some showers in it. And this is what I showed you on the radar that has the really good rain in it here. And this is also the boundary between the relatively mild air we're in now from the much colder air. And it's as this line sinks to the south and pivots off the coast that we will see the rain push into the valley this afternoon and into tonight when we will see the better rain. Let's take a look at how that looks at 500 millibars. Here is that low that I just showed you on the satellite. And watch how it just drives down the coast. This is... tonight at around 10 or 11 o'clock. That low spinning around here, bringing us some really nice rain. And then as it shifts to the south during the day tomorrow, there could be some wraparound rain that I'll show you, as well as the low, let me back up one, as the low is right here. We will have a really good chance of afternoon thunderstorms tomorrow, especially in the San Joaquin Valley. So San Joaquin County, Stanislaus County, those are going to be some areas where it could be quite favorable for thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. And then as the low kicks out, we get into a north flow on Wednesday and Thursday, we dry out. And then this is Saturday, looks really nice. And then here comes the next trough. This is Sunday, but right now, because... the Ironman is going on Sunday. Right now, this doesn't look all that big at this point, and it looks as though most of this rain would be on Sunday evening. But more details with that will come out over the next couple of days. All right, let's go to the morning NAM. The 12Z is just coming in. It's only 36 hours in as I'm recording this. This will eventually go out to 48 hours. All right, but I did want to show you the latest model. This is at 5 p.m. according to the NAM, and I'll show you a few different models because you'll find some different timing. But I wanted to show you this one because it will give you the broad picture of what is likely going to happen. And again, we'll zoom in on more details here in just a second. So this is at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Southern California is dry, some snow in the Sierra south of Highway 50, but this is the main area of rain. So at 5 o'clock, we have really good rain in Lake County. It'll start before that in Lake County, as you can see here. But I just wanted to stop it here at 5 o'clock. Rain will likely be pushing into Sacramento and Stockton by then. Really good rain in the Bay Area. And the coldest low, the big cold low, is just off the coast here, as you can see here with the 540 thickness line. All right, that's 5 p.m. Let's go ahead a 3-hour increment to 8 p.m. Rain in the valley. Not much snow in the Sierra, but it should be snowing up on Donner Summit and Echo Summit. Then the low begins to pivot down the coast. This is 2 a.m. tomorrow. Rain in the valley. And then this is the wraparound feature that I was talking about. You see how the low is down here and then you get this return flow here? You'll also notice there's not much snow north of Lake Tahoe at that point. Kind of seems like it's, this is one of the things the models have been showing the last couple of days is the best snow is going to be south of Lake Tahoe. So that's why, up at, let's say, Tuolumne Meadows in Yosemite, we'll see some really good snow. Now, as we go into the day tomorrow, I'll stop it at 21Z. So this is at 2 p.m. This model won't show the detail very well of the possibility of thunderstorms, but as we get some clearing in here and we have the cold air aloft, that's when we will see some really good chance of thunderstorms. And again, I'll show you that with a more detailed model in just a second. And then this is this is 5 p.m. on Tuesday. That's about when we could be seeing some maybe the best snow in the Sierra. The NAM here through Tuesday shows about a half an inch of rain in the valley. The models are still indicating, well, a wide variety of rain totals. So this morning's NAM only showing about a half an inch. The HRRR that I'll show you in a minute is a little bit higher. And also not as much in the foothills. Notice this area in here only getting about 1/3 of an inch, more of it on the coast range than here. There's a reason for that. There's something that we look at when storms come our way during the wintertime, and that's what we call the orographic flow. In other words, how is this flow going to go into the Sierra and the foothills, the west slope, if you will? So this is this morning, and this is at about, let's say, 10,000 feet. So this is our 700 millibar flow. Here's the low here, strong north winds here, and this is the flow that you'd like to see to produce really good rain and snow in the Sierra. It's also going to be windy in the Sierra. This is, again, your 10,000 foot winds up here are up around 30 knots. Now watch as the low comes down the coast, how that flow here, it's now south. So this is almost parallel to the Sierra. You aren't getting that additional lift that you get on the west slope. So that's why this may be one of those cases where, quite often we get into a storm in the wintertime, and let's say we're talking about a half an inch of rain in Sacramento, but Grass Valley might be seeing 2 inches of rain. Placerville might be seeing 2 inches of rain. Maybe not that the case this time because of this sort of flow. And this would also keep the snow totals down. This is getting into tonight. And then during the day on Tuesday and early Wednesday, this is actually Tuesday morning. You notice how that flow is almost offshore here. Look at the wind barbs here. They're going this way. So this is actually good for places like Mammoth to get some really good snow, and the east side of the Sierra, down toward the areas of Mono County, we could see some really nice snow there. But with this sort of a flow, you don't get much orographic lift at all into the areas around Tahoe. And then as the low pivots out to the east, you can see all that south flow here, and then we get the return to the north flow early Wednesday, and that's what helps to dry things out. All right, so that's the big picture. Let's go to the HRRR, and we'll go back to the precip. And we're on the 12Z run. Perfect. Okay. It's also showing a little bit more detail. This is at noontime today. Maybe some light showers in the Sierra, but traveling through the Sierra up until maybe 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, I think is still going to be okay. Here comes the line of showers. There could be some downpours in here. This is 4 p.m. I'll go to 5 p.m. So this is a little bit faster than the NAM that I just showed you, and I think this is a little bit more realistic. So if you're going to have to be on the road around 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the valley, and I'd include Marysville and Chico and Sacramento and Roseville and Stockton and Modesto into this, as well as Auburn and Placerville will eventually get into some of this rain. But you notice nothing in the Sierra on this model at that point, so in terms of snow. And look at how this model, this is at 10 p.m. tonight, it keeps the Sierra dry, but we still have really good rain in the valley. Now, I'll take you back to the television days. So one of the things that we'd be making the call on for our management team is, when do we send somebody to the Sierra so that we can have somebody standing in the snow and reporting on what's going on in the Sierra? Well, if you're basing it on this model, and this is at 10 o'clock tonight, and they're getting ready to do the 10 o'clock news. Is it snowing on Donner Summit? Is there someplace they can find somebody standing in the snow? Those are the kind of calls that we would have to make. And if you're just basing it on this model, you'd say, well, maybe there's not going to be much going on in the Sierra at that point. But it'll certainly be raining in the valley. And it'll be rainy, it'll be breezy. This is 10 o'clock tonight. And then as we go through the overnight, that's when we get some better snow. So that maybe 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, according to this model, then you do have somebody standing in the Sierra. Send Mike DeSell up there. And then as you go down to the south, you can see the really good snow. But for the valley, things are starting to dry out. All right, now here comes that cold low. And let's go through the day on Tuesday to see how this model depicts the chance of thunderstorms. This is 9 a.m. and this is at 1 p.m. Okay, a couple of things going on here. And I zoom in on this. So here's that area of wraparound rain that I was talking about. But these little discrete cells that you see here, these little yellow blobs here and there, these would be thunderstorms. And that's what this model would be really good at picking out, these little isolated downpours. That's at 1 p.m., 2, 3, 4, and then they move out. And while this model is depicting this is, let's say, the noontime, in southern San Joaquin County, northern Stanislaus County, you can't say that we're actually going to have a thunderstorm in one of these spots at this time. However, it does give you the idea of generally where and when, but not exactly. So you can't just kind of say, okay, at noontime, go right here and you're going to find a thunderstorm. The model isn't that good. But if you kind of take more of this view, you say, oh yeah, okay, we have a better chance of thunderstorms here than we do in Butte County. So that's what this model is really good at. So for those of you in San Joaquin, Stanislaus County, as well as the adjacent foothills south of, or I should say west of Highway 49, from Amador County through Calaveras and down into Tuolumne County, Sonora. I think Sonora, Jamestown, all the way up toward Jackson do have a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Maybe even into southern Sacramento County. And then that area of rain sinks through. So this model depicting some better rain into Tuesday night, and then everything dissipates as we get into early Wednesday. This model, a little bit wetter in terms of total rain. This one picking up 2 inches of rain for Sacramento, and showing more on the west slope, but 1.5 inches or so, more, I should say, than what the previous model was showing, the NAM was showing. And in terms of snow, total snow. Total snow here on Donner Summit. This model showing somewhere around 11 inches. I think the maybe the range of 8 to 12 is going to be good for Donner Summit. There will be higher totals down south. And, one of my pet peeves is So let's say somebody looked at this model and said, it says 41 inches. So that's 3.5 feet. Somebody could say, oh, the mountains of California are going to see more than 3 feet of snow. Well, yeah, maybe in some of these places that are pretty remote. Here's one that's 4 feet. Yeah, so somebody could make a big headline out of 4 feet of snow heading to the Sierra. But that's unlikely on 80, 50, 88. It really is going to be the southern Sierra that has the best chance of any of that. But even this model might be a little bit on the high side. While we're on this model, let's also take a look at the wind, because it'll be a little bit breezy for a while today. So these are the wind gusts. Windy in the Sierra this morning. As we go through the day, it'll turn somewhat breezy in the valley. This is at 2 o'clock this afternoon, but quite windy in the Sierra. If we go over this spot, 59 miles an hour. But again, up in very remote areas. But it's actually this model is showing less wind than yesterday. Only gusts into the 20s, and then over here, gusts into the 30s. That typical pattern where we see the strongest winds on the east side of the valley and the lower foothills. And then the winds die down. So as I said yesterday, in yesterday's briefing, I don't expect to see damaging winds, but it'll turn breezy. And the strongest winds will be between, let's say, about 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. Tonight. Also want to talk about the chance of thunderstorms. And so since we're here, let's talk about the Cape. Just how unstable the atmosphere might be on Tuesday. And we'll go to Tuesday afternoon. So this model is showing the highest Cape is here in Stanislaus County. And so you'll notice that it's this area, again, taking the wide view, it's this area that has the better chance of thunderstorms than areas to the north. So Butte County, maybe you don't get thunderstorms this time, while areas around Modesto maybe do. So let's take a look at this area and look at a sounding for that, because we're all weather geeks and we love soundings. This is here is your lapse rate. This is your temperature. This is your dew point. So as you can see, a pretty saturated layer here and quite a bit of lift going on here. It doesn't say that there is going to be any hazard from this, and we're not seeing anything in the way of shear. So we're not looking at anything in the way of, tornadoes. But what this would do, because, let me zoom in on this again. Here's your zero line, this blue dashed line, that's 0 degrees. And so you reach zero just above 850 millibars. This might be around 6,000 feet is where your freezing line is. So in other words, if you're taking parcels of air with moisture and lifting them into the atmosphere all the way up here to 20,000 feet, maybe 18,000 feet, something like that, you're going to be, this whole area would be below freezing, so that would be producing small hail as that rain comes out, as those showers come out. So that's kind of what you look at here. And then big dry slot here up at 300 millibars. So that's in this area right here, the most unstable area right there. So some of those showers could produce a little bit of hail as well. I think that's about everything we need to cover this morning. Cover the rain, cover the thunderstorms tomorrow, cover the snow and the wind. I think that's about everything. Temperatures will be chilly, maybe low 60s during the day today and into the day tomorrow. Then it'll warm up for the end of the week. So let's see. I think today's discussion was a little bit shorter than yesterday. Yesterday went almost a half an hour. Back in television, they would have called that a special. And I would have loved to have been able to do this on television. It's just that their television is just too formatted. They would never let me do something like this on TV, which is too bad. I think people would find this entertaining. So that's everything I've got for you this morning. And another note, because I am retired and because, I'm the only one that does this in this office. You know, I'm not going to be here the rest of the week. Yeah, I'm getting on a plane this afternoon. So I won't be doing another one of these updates until tomorrow morning. And I'm going to be too far away to do a good weather update. So that's everything I've got for you this morning, and that's everything I've got for you for the week. I'll be back next week to provide more updates. But in the meantime, for those of you that enjoy the storms, enjoy this one that comes in. It'll be a nice one. You know, nothing too bad. I don't expect damaging winds. I don't expect flooding rains. There'll be enough snow that we will see travel impacted over the Sierra for a while. So it's a good one, but it's not like it's an off-the-charts one, that sort of thing. So enjoy it. Make it a great day. I guess make it a great week. I'll talk with you later.